Hey, and welcome to a new episode of Worlds Collide, the podcast about moving abroad. I am your host, Victoria. And yes, it is not the podcast about wrestling. Moving abroad is the topic. Okay. Thanks for being here. Guys, thanks for checking it out. Very welcome if it's the first time that you're tuning in. In this podcast, I always talk to people who moved to a different country. And in this episode, my guest is Georgia. And before we started talking, I had no idea where she is. So sometimes that's what's happening. And I don't know where the people are. So that was a great surprise. And she tells us how she ended up there and how she's adjusting to it. But I also wanted to tell you that there are so many ways how you can support the podcast. First, of course, is subscribe. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, or no, if you're not watching on YouTube. But there's also a YouTube channel if you want to subscribe there. Yeah, don't forget to push the follow button. And then, of course, there are all the other ways too, like leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen to the podcast or push the like button or whatever. You will find out more in the show notes. All right, so much for that. And before I will let you listen to this episode, I will show you a little trailer for my friend's podcast, Tasty Trails. Here it is. And after that comes Georgia.
Hey there! If you've just moved abroad or you're dreaming about it, you know that food becomes more than just food. It's comfort, it's culture, and in my opinion, the best and most delicious way to connect to a place. My name is Katie, and I host a podcast called Tasty Trails Travel Pod, where I sit down with locals and fellow travelers to uncover stories behind iconic dishes, hidden food traditions, and the flavors that make each culture unique. So if you're building a life in a new country and want to feel a little more at home, come join me at Tasty Trails Travel Pod, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure that you check out episode number 15, that is with Viktoria. Can't wait to see you there. Bye.
All right, so my guest today is Georgia. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Victoria. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So I want to ask you first, where are you from?
I'm from Australia originally, from Tasmania, actually.
Oh, you're from Tasmania? Oh,
Yeah.
I was there a long time ago. It's so nice. I always loved it, yes. But
Yes.
and where are you now?
I'm now in Guatemala, so I live here.
Oh, in Guatemala.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wow, so different. I did not
Yeah,
expect
very
that. I was
far from
like,
Tasmania.
I expected Europe or something.
Yeah, no, I never thought I would end up in Guatemala either. So yes, long
Uh-huh.
story.
So, yeah, how come you are in Guatemala?
Well, I actually moved here with my partner who's Guatemalan. So
Mhm.
we met a few years ago. 2.5 years ago in Cambodia, where I used to live. And eventually we relocated to Guatemala. So that's the main reason I'm here. He's from
Okay.
Guatemala. So yeah.
Okay, but what was the first reason why you wanted to leave Australia?
Yeah, so originally I moved to Cambodia, as I mentioned, and the reason was that I always wanted to live abroad. So basically I fell in love with, when I was a younger person, I managed to travel to some different countries, and I fell in love with the world and all the amazing different places you can experience. And yeah, so I just at some point I really wanted to work in international development, in NGOs and that kind of like charity work. So I ended up studying a master's of development, and after I finished that, I was like, okay, the best way to get a job is to just go somewhere where there's lots of development, like lots of NGOs.
Okay, so not so many in Tasmania, or did you study
Yeah,
on the mainland?
I studied on the mainland. I studied in Melbourne, this master's, but it was it was an international development, so I always was planning to leave and work internationally anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the main driver.
Okay, so you always had it like in your mind, you wanted to explore the world. And then why Cambodia?
Well, by that point, I don't think I always knew I wanted to do that, but at that point, I had traveled during my teenage years. My family went to South Africa, and I really was kind of like an eye-opening experience for me, because like I'd never been to like a developing country before. I really weirdly felt at home there, and we were only tourists, but I was also amazed by like the differences in culture and like the diversity there, and like surprised by some things that were like quite shocking to see, like like extreme poverty and stuff, but also like how beautiful the country is and how beautiful the people are, and like so I think I was like quite an eye-opening experience, and I was like, oh, like if I'm going to work, I would love to work with people and help people. So that was that. And but by the time I finished, like after I finished school, I traveled by myself to like Latin America and Europe and Nepal. So I spent like quite a few months traveling the world, and I really loved all different places. But I'd never really been to Southeast Asia. So that and that's kind of like a really typical place for Australians to go, is like Indonesia, Thailand. It's like really close. It's warm, it's quite like inexpensive, but I always felt like, I don't know, it's too touristy, it's too like
too mainstream.
Mainstream, right? So I had never been. So I thought, but it's also a region that I've never explored. So I was like, maybe somewhere in Southeast Asia, start my international development career. And I didn't know anything about all these different countries, and I was thinking something like maybe the Thai-Burma border, there's some like there are refugee camps there, or maybe Cambodia. I was volunteering in an organization at the time, and in the end I had some classmates who had already moved to Cambodia, and one of them was like, oh, Cambodia has lots of NGOs and you could probably just get a job if you come here. So I was like, okay, maybe Cambodia then. I didn't know anything about it. I don't think I even remembered like researching the country that much, or anything really. And I just sold everything I owned. I sold my car, I sold my furniture, I moved anything that I wanted to keep back to my parents' house in Tasmania, and then I left and landed in Phnom Penh, which is the capital of Cambodia. And I was like, oh wow, so this is my new home. Which is it's quite a chaotic city. So I was like, wow, this is interesting, but I'm sure I'll be fine.
Sure. So how long did you end up there?
I ended up staying 9 years. So
long time.
That was not the plan. Yeah, that was not the plan. But no, actually, I had a really amazing time there. I did end up getting I kind of networked my way into a job. With a Norwegian organization that were doing bomb and mine clearance from the Vietnam. So that was really cool. And I worked with them for 5 years in the end. But I ended up starting my own businesses in Cambodia, and
I see.
So that's why I kind of stayed such a long time also.
And so when you got there, so you just went because you knew a few of your classmates were there, but you didn't have anything lined up.
That's right.
You just tried your luck?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I spent after I finished my master's, I spent quite a few months, maybe a year, working and saving money. So I had some cash to till I would get a job, tide me over basically. So I had 3 different people I knew, but 2 were from my university, and 1 was from an organization I volunteered with. We're all ending up in Cambodia randomly, and this was even I found out from a couple of them even after I had decided to move there. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is nice. I have at least and they didn't know each other, so when I arrived, I would catch up with them, and then they would introduce me to their friends, and so I felt wow, this is such a big community, and it felt really easy to.
And did you where did you stay in the beginning?
In the very beginning, I stayed with one of these friends. She let me stay in her apartment. She was a photographer working for the Phnom Penh Post, and that was fun. So I met lots of journalists, and then my other friends were working for NGOs, and there was a lot of, at that time there were a lot of Australians in Cambodia, and we had Australian aid that would support parts of Asia, and so there was lots of people who had kind of like volunteer jobs, like with NGOs there, which is what I ended up getting in the end. So
Okay. All right. And what kind of businesses did you start? Was it also what you're doing now?
no, so I went through a few career changes since then.
Okay. Well, okay, it's
Yeah,
part of the path.
yeah. So actually, after a few years of working for the NGO, I was like a little bit bored. Like it was actually mostly an office job anyway. Like I sometimes got to go to the field, but like yeah, a lot of like just donor reporting and stuff. So lots of writing. I was like, oh, a little bit bored. What else? I was actually thinking what else I could do, but I was like, maybe I should move. Like I thought originally, like maybe I'll just get another job, like with another organization or something. But just a hobby of mine was to make kombucha, which is like a drink made from tea, probiotic drink basically. And I used to drink that when I was like living in Melbourne. I used to like make it for myself, and so I started making it for myself to drink in Cambodia. And at that time, there wasn't really anyone like selling kombucha there. And I wasn't even planning to make any business. I was like kind of like the opposite of a business person. I was like, no. I had this kind of like idealistic thing, like businesses are evil. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that, but so I was like the last person to start a business basically. But I started like making accidentally too much of this kombucha, and like I was always asking my friends, can you give me your like empty wine bottles? I need something to bottle it in. And so I'd always have like 10 bottles of kombucha, and I didn't know what to do with them. So I just like start taking them to like my friends' houses, like for parties and stuff. And then there was people that were like, oh, this is really good. Like maybe you should sell this. I was like, no, I don't know how to do that. But then I thought about it for like a month, and I was like, actually, this is kind of like could be fun just as a project, to do my own thing and see what happens. No pressure. Yeah. So I basically just thought, okay, actually, yeah, I'll try. And I just started like thinking about the name and like
the whole thing,
the label.
Yeah.
Little by little, thinking how I'm going to bottle it. Like took me about 6 months to really figure out everything, actually. But then I just started and saw what happened. So that was my first business.
And did people like kombucha?
Yeah, they did. There's like a little error. They liked it. Yeah. So I mean, there's a huge like kind of expat community, I would say, in Cambodia. Yeah. So most of my clients were other foreigners.
Sure, and they liked it. It's a very, I don't know, at least here in the Western world, I want to say it's a very like hip drink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was especially, I think, it's very hip. It's kind of like, health conscious as well.
Yes.
So I started as like kind of subscription base. And then I would like deliver it around town to people. But then I even had like a friend who like opened a cafe there, and she was like, oh, we want to sell it. So I was like, oh, maybe I can get some businesses too. So
sure.
Little by little it grew.
Oh, nice. I mean, that is interesting. So that's a fun project, and it's great if it's working.
Yeah, exactly.
How long did you do that for?
Well, actually, I sold that business last year. So that was going. I think I started in like 2017. So and it's still running now, that business. So just with a new owner now.
Oh, nice. That is great. So okay, but I wanted to also like ask you about the cultural experience that you had in Cambodia. What were you expecting culture-wise? You said earlier you were already like traveling with your family when you were younger, but like it was different than just visiting, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I didn't think that time I felt a lot of culture shock or anything. I think maybe because there are a lot of foreigners there. So I've kind of got like absorbed by this like expat group, right? So it was a bit like strange that there was this kind of like almost separation from the local people who would like not really interact that much with the foreigners, and like there would be places that were like foreigners would go, and yeah, so it was a bit like of a bubble, I think. So I didn't feel like some culture shock, but at the same time, I think it is a really beautiful culture. Like, and I think people there are like super lovely, like super kind, and it's the first time I lived in like a Buddhist country, so I love to see like every morning the monks going past, and like they collect alms. I think it's called doing the alms. They like collect food from the people in the community. So basically, the community looks after the monks and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, it was really nice.
And
Yeah.
and so then along the way you met your boyfriend, and then what was the transition when you guys were talking? Or maybe what about Guatemala?
Yeah, right. So by the time we met, so I also ended up starting another business, and we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So
by
like
the
wait,
time,
like from like anti-business to like multiple business.
yeah, yeah. So the other business was with a business partner. So I had like a second person, luckily, with that one, which helped a lot. Yeah, but by the time we met, I had already kind of like planned my exit, because I've been there for like, as I said, like almost by that point maybe 9 years, and I was like, I really have loved my life here, but I was like starting to feel a bit like I need a change, and like I love building businesses, but running them like long term kind of became a bit like monotonous for me.
Yes.
Yeah, like felt like I wasn't growing. So, and I also spent like I would say like almost a whole year like thinking, what else do I want to do with my life? Like, if I'm not doing this, then what? Because both of those businesses were like based in Cambodia, so I couldn't take them with me. And yeah, I went through lots of different phases of what I could do, because I was like, I want something that's more like location independent, right? Like I can bring with me and work on my laptop.
Yeah.
Because I kind of wanted to move to another country. Anyway, I didn't want to move back to Australia. But yeah, I didn't really have. I was like, maybe somewhere in Latin America, or maybe Georgia, which is not because it's my name, but
but Georgia, the country.
Yeah, Georgia, country. I've seen other people move there, and like looked like a beautiful country. Yeah, so by the time we met, I was also really not. I was planning to leave 3 months later. By that point, I had started my master's in counseling, because I had landed on counseling as that's going to be my next career.
Sure.
And I was about 1 year into it, I think, and or even more, I don't remember now. But yeah, so I had to go and do like something in Australia as part of my master's, and then like a longer placement, which is like a internship kind of, where you work in an agency, and you need to do like certain hours in person as part of the master's, right? So I was already planning to be out of Cambodia for like 7 months, and thinking maybe to visit Mexico to like see if it's somewhere I'd like to move to.
Sure, okay.
And he was traveling the world, so he was like, at that time, but he'd kind of stopped in Cambodia because he accidentally came off a motorbike and broke his shoulder, and that's how we ended up meeting, actually, because he stopped and stayed in Cambodia longer.
Exactly. Bad coincidence, kind of.
Yeah. He was like, that was the worst time, like breaking his shoulder, like the worst time of his life. But then, luckily, from that, we were able to meet. So, like,
yeah.
Here we are. So, yeah, I don't know exactly how the conversation went, to be honest. Like, I think we were open from the beginning. He was like, I'm not really sure. Like, he was kind of like, his plan had been to go to Australia for 3 months and do like a meditation type of retreat. Okay. But maybe kind of work there or volunteer there for a little while. And then he wasn't sure, maybe he would go back home. Like, he was like a bit open, and I was like, well, I've got to go to Australia for this time, and I had this couple of months in between. Like, maybe we can meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to go all the way to Mexico because it's too far. Like, it's literally going home for me, basically.
Yeah, it is, yes.
Yeah, so but we really kind of fell in love in those 3 months that we had together in Cambodia before I left. Like, we fell in love and like became really close. And he still had his visa for Australia, and I was going there for like a month because I wanted to see my family as well. So he's like, okay, well, maybe I just come stay, like visit you. Like, he went to Vietnam for a month, and then he's like, I'll come visit you in Australia. And then, yeah, we just became super close. And then we're like, okay, let's go somewhere together for these 2 months while I figure out, like, before I have to go back to Australia. And we ended up going to Indonesia, and we're able to stay there and like stay in Bali and just like spend some time. And he was doing his own project, and I was studying still. So like I was studying online and stuff. So yeah, and then my placement got delayed by 4 more months. So we ended up staying in Indonesia for like 6 months in the end. Like,
Okay.
having to leave and do some visa runs and stuff. But
Sure.
yeah, like we managed to stay there, and we traveled to different parts of Indonesia, and he was documenting the culture and everything, and that was really like what his passion is. Yeah, and then he's like, finally, all these years, he's like, I'm really ready to go home. Like, I think I need to stop traveling all the time.
Okay. How long was he traveling at that point?
I think about 3 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
It's a long
yeah,
around the world.
yeah,
Okay.
well, but he had been back a couple of times for like weddings and stuff. But
Sure, but like still, yeah.
yeah, it was a lot. So he's like, he wanted to maybe live a life of like this kind of like living abroad, but he realized that he would be like setting up roots in another place, and seeing that kind of transition of life, with like people coming and going and stuff, like what I had lived, like he's like, actually, I think I'd rather put my roots where I'm from and be closer to family and build from there. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I was planning to move to Mexico, basically, but okay, Guatemala is close. It's like literally next door.
Yes, it's also Central America. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, let's go. But we had to do like a 4 months, almost 5 months, long distance, because I had to do my placement in Australia still. So
Okay.
yeah. So once I finished that, I got on a plane to Guatemala, and yeah, that was it.
And you're there since
Yeah, it's a year and a half now. So
So and how was the experience for you to like start new? I don't know, but you already had like a place to live and all this, but like still you had to get, I don't know, get suited in the situation.
Yeah, actually it was really different and more challenging than I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my experience in Cambodia was like really, it felt quite easy and like easy to make friends, and like even though it was hard to find a job and everything, like in the beginning.
But you have not a big, I mean, probably not as much of an expat community there, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, exactly. In Guatemala, it's not as many expats. So, and it's just been really, like really different because I moved with a partner. So I think that's, and he's from here, right? So for one, the first thing that is challenging is the language barrier, which I never really felt that much in Cambodia. Like a lot of Cambodians speak English. I was learning Khmer, the language there. And I would like use what I needed to, and then whatever else like was just easy. Like everybody spoke English together. And then come to Guatemala, obviously the language is Spanish, and I have tried to learn Spanish, but it's been a challenge. And I'm getting there, finally getting there little by little now. But yeah, just having that like. It's not like someone sees you're a foreigner and they speak English to you. They see you're a foreigner and they speak Spanish to you anyway, because of course you should speak Spanish. Right? You live here.
Yeah, well, like, you know what? Like a lot of, like, what is the most spoken language in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's not no criticism or anything. Like, it's a good thing, and I actually appreciate that. But like the kind of confrontation of that is also like, oh wow,
it's hard for you, yes.
So yeah,
always like overwhelmed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit like not speaking it very much in the beginning, and like just feeling like I felt like kind of like shrinking of myself in a bit, like feeling like, oh, I'm not as independent as I was. I'm like, I could easily
Right.
navigate everything in my life in
Right. Now you kind of need a translator with you.
yeah, exactly, and everything felt so much harder. Yeah, but his family's lovely, and they all speak English, and but like also that feeling like, okay, you're around a bunch of locals, and they want to speak obviously their own language. So, but when everyone speaks English just for you, it's like a kind of guilt, like, oh wow, I feel like, okay, this is only for me. So it's like, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the other, I think, challenges. So definitely, and also making friends has been like much more. I don't know why, but like I don't know. I don't think it's been like, it's not really like like a huge community like that's always around. Like you just like go to a coffee shop and you see people or anything like that. So
it's also probably different when you're working from home in your case.
Yeah, exactly.
You already don't have like the coworkers around you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also like you are in a relationship, so you already have a person you can talk to. Maybe you're not as outgoing as you were if you were single.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the biggest factors is like, because I have my partner, I haven't been as like actively or as proactive in like making friends as like I could be. Yeah, but it has been like a kind of long road to getting my confidence and independence back, I would say. Yeah, but now I drive here, and we even bought a motorbike, so I ride a motorbike here sometimes.
Okay. And do you live in a city, or do you live like more like rural countryside?
We live in Antigua, which is like a smaller city. It's like a colonial city that's like outside of the main city, because the main city is like very hectic with traffic. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so we live like in a suburb just outside of Antigua, which is probably where most, I would say, like foreigners also will congregate, because it's like quite a touristy place as well. Like they have these amazing volcanoes around the city, and one of them is active, and you can climb climb another volcano to view the active like volcano. So it's a lot of like tourism here, and like it's a beautiful city. So people like to, if they can, stay here. But the capital is also, maybe if you're like a teacher or working for an NGO, that's probably where you would live.
Sure. So there are like some like people from abroad. So
yeah, definitely.
So also like there are other people who are looking for community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just also finding the people that you like really connect with as well. So that's also been a challenge. But it's
no, it is a process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so let's talk about what you're doing. Let's talk about your psychological help for expats.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like a good way of saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I originally, before I did the Masters of Development Studies, Bachelor of Psychology, and then when I retrained, I did the Master of Counseling. So a few years ago. So now I'm working as a counselor, providing, like as you said, the mental health support for expats and people living abroad. Because as I have personally experienced, there's a lot of transitions that you go through, I guess, like when you move abroad, and some experiences can be just feel like so easy and like life opening and like just life changing and like everything's great and easy. And other times it's like, oh wow, this wasn't as hard. I didn't expect it to be, this challenging. So I think that's one of the kind of lived experiences, is like having both of those. And I also love my life here, by the way. I'm like, even though it's challenging, like
I did not expect that. I didn't like it.
No, I do love Guatemala. It's a super beautiful country, and there has been some challenges, and also moving with a partner. Even though that sounds like that would be easier, a partner that is from that country, or moving to your partner's country, it's like it sets up this kind of like imbalance in a way, because everything's like where they're from, they know how things work, they speak their language, they have their family, they have friends,
Yes.
they have everything already, and then you're like, I'm like catching
Completely
up
new.
constantly. Yeah. So, and it kind of creates this like sense of like, okay, I have to depend on my partner, but then they feel bad for you having to like, really catch up in so many ways. They feel guilty that like you've come all this way and you're so far from your family. And so yeah, there's many like little underlying dynamics that come up in this kind of situation, which probably don't happen in relationships that are, like if you're both from the same country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least like let's say you have the same language, maybe.
Yeah,
Like at least like or the rest of the family has the same language that you speak,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
Yep.
it's yeah, and like also like I guess the other things that can happen like when you move to a new country is like the kind of identity shifts that you go through, like having to basically rebuild your identity, because a lot of our identity is made up from like our family, our friends, our culture, our location,
Sure.
the things that you build in those places. Those friendships, like for example, in Cambodia, my businesses and like who I was in those roles.
Yeah. Now you're a completely different person.
Yeah, I mean, there's parts of me that's obviously still the same, but it's like, well, I'm not that anymore, and my friends are not here.
Right.
I'm still friends with them, but it's like they're not here, and like,
Yes,
so
and
who
you're
am
not
I?
dealing with the same business
Yeah,
things. You're
absolutely, yeah,
not dealing with the same problems.
yeah, exactly.
Also just for I don't know, I find it when you are at a different place, you dress different too, so
Yes,
your appearance starts
absolutely.
to be different.
Definitely. Yeah, I dress completely differently here because of the weather's so different. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and also like adapting to the culture here. So, for example, one big change that I went through, and I'm sure there might be some people that don't approve of this, but one big change that I went through when I moved here was that I was vegetarian for like 15 years.
Okay, and it's so hard there, right?
Yeah, most of my adult life I've been vegetarian, sometimes vegan, like for a few years I was vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved here, I found that so challenging because especially in the beginning we were traveling a lot actually, because my partner, he documents culture. And we were traveling to all these different festivals, and it's like the best country to do this in because there's just like so much culture here. And we were traveling to all these like little towns and all over the country, and yeah, it was really a challenge to find like vegetarian food sometimes, and
Sure, yes.
yeah, but
And
I managed it. I kind of
look
managed it, yeah. But then
people look weird at you
yeah,
because
yeah,
because it's
absolutely,
so different, right? It's like I
yeah,
don't understand.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you don't eat anything? Like, what do you eat? Yeah, and he's also from a family of like big meat eaters, and like his siblings have a business that's like catering, like a meat catering business. So it's like
Sure, so like the opposite. Yeah.
yeah, complete opposite. So I was like, I really, in the beginning, I was like struggling against this the whole time, like probably a couple of months.
Right,
And
sure, I
then I was
understand.
just like, yeah, you know what? I think I need to just adapt and like start eating meat because it's just doesn't really feel like it's working. So
Right, yeah.
I eat meat now, and yeah, it's just been like I never really would have expected that to happen. Like I never thought I would make that change, but here I
It's
am,
like
and I
a
made a change.
survival kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Adaptation. I don't know, being flexible. I don't know, but yeah, it is like this kind of. I guess even that was part of my identity that I had to let go of, and yeah, and that does have some still for me like psychological, yeah, like thing. Like I'm like, I still feel a bit guilty about eating meat, but I still do it. So I'm like, there's this like tension internally. Like, what do I do
Yeah.
with those feelings? Like so.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, and then also you said you help the prepare expats on the emotional side of moving?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes it's like you don't know what's going to happen emotionally or psychologically before you leave. And maybe, I don't know if it's really like, mostly I work with people who are already abroad. So if they're already in an adjustment phase, so if they're struggling, yeah. But often my clients also, they get the context that I've lived in and they're living in, right? And they reach out to me for that reason, even that I'm just someone who gets that kind of life style or life experience. And it's not always that they're, coming for support for like adjustment or cultural shock or something, but many other topics, like relationships, stress, things like normal, everyday things actually that we all struggle with. But I think the thing that they connect with is like at least they don't have to explain that side of their life, and also like we can, I think, see like maybe it's not even a conscious thing that they're going through these things. Like I don't think I would have really noticed and already not had words necessarily for what I was going through when I was first adjusting here if I hadn't been like studying this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So having the language also for me, like to describe my experience and have it reflected and I get what I'm going through is normal also. So kind of like that can sometimes be a bit of like an existential, almost like an existential crisis, because like your identity is changing. Like it's like, who am I now? Who do I want to be? And there's a lot of also topics like loss and grief and guilt in this expat kind of, or like living abroad lifestyle, right? Because, and maybe it's something we don't talk about as much, but a lot of my clients struggle with guilt.
Guilt because they leave other people behind.
Yeah, exactly. Especially family, parents, aging parents. That kind of like, I need to be there, I should be there, but here I am choosing myself or choosing this lifestyle, and there's like a lot of those like difficult emotions that it's like, what do I do with this,
All right. And so if somebody wants to find you or contact you, how can they find you?
Best place is on my website. So it's georgiamurphyonlinetherapy.com, I think.
Okay. And I will make sure there's a link to it in the show notes.
Thank you.
People can find you. So the listener, check it out. And coming back to your life, like, because like Australia is so far away, do you get to visit, or have you visited, or did your family come visit you?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to visit in April. I've got my flights booked finally, so it's the first time I'm visiting Australia since I moved here. So it will be like, well over 18 months. I do feel a bit guilty about that, to be honest. Like, I wish I could go more. It is so far and expensive, and so it's like just what's manageable. But I'm really looking forward to visiting, because I also have a niece who was born just before I left. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her grow up, and like I'm missing out on a lot right now. So that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing her.
That's a very common expat problem, like missing out.
Missing out, and that's the loss, that kind of like, the loss of my other life, or loss of other opportunity to be closer to family and experience these things. But loss of friendships, loss of many, like, close friendships that you spend time with a lot. That's something that I feel loss of as well. But,
and in Guatemala, is there like, is it besides like the language problem, but is there like something else that you struggle with? I don't know. I mean, or like something that is weird to you, without bashing the country.
No, not at all. No, actually, I love the people here, and the diversity. It's such a diverse country. But I think, the thing I struggle with, it's a kind of a boring thing actually. It's like the traffic.
The traffic.
Like the commuting, it's a lot, and like the driving style, it can there's just a lot of trucks and buses, and like it's actually quite dangerous, the roads here. So that's something that I've been quite struggling. I mean, I'm adjusting to it, but in the beginning I was like, oh my god.
Can you get around with public transportation?
I don't use. There are these kind of like buses but they drive really fast and really kind of quite, I would say, recklessly. So I don't take it. Yeah, we have a car, so we use the car. We use the motorbike, even though the motorbike is probably not the safest. But I feel better having in my own. Yeah, at least it's in my own hands, like rather than the bus driver, right?
Sure.
Yeah. But traffic and just like that kind of intense commute, like surprising because it's like not very far, the distances between places, but it just, because of traffic, takes so long. So that's something I have to deal with in Cambodia.
And as I also have like one logistics questions for Guatemala. Like, how can you just stay there, or do you still do border runs?
I do border runs, yeah. So it's like every 6 months you have to leave the country.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And is that at some point, is that a problem?
No, actually, I don't think so. I think I've heard that like many people have been doing it for even decades, and like they never seem to be doing that. So, but it's hard. It's quite challenging to get the actual temporary residency or permanent residency unless you're married, and then even that takes over a year. So it's like, most people will just do the border runs. Yeah.
Okay, so where do you usually go?
I did one to Mexico overland. I don't think I would do that again. One, because of like I said, the driving was 14 hours in van.
That's long.
Yeah, it was very far. But you can fly to Mexico in a couple of hours. Mexico, the US, Costa Rica. We went to Costa Rica recently for a wedding. Panama, close by, Belize. So these are the main countries people do the border runs to, because actually you cannot go just to El Salvador, which is next door, because there's like an agreement, like a C4, like Central 4 countries, that the visa is valid for all of them. So you can't do a visa run there.
Okay, but the other ones are okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so at least, because like for me, that sounds really stressful. I don't know.
Oh, having to do that every 6 months? Yeah, it's right. This last year, did I have to do another one? I went to Cambodia to pick up my cat. Actually, I left my cat there. I sell my businesses and tidy up everything that I do. Yeah, so that was one exit, and then the other was to Mexico. And this year we've already went to Costa Rica. I'm going to Australia, and then later in the year we have my partner's sister's getting married in France, so we have to go to France. So it's going to be like already this year is okay. I don't need to do other exits just for that. So, yeah.
All right.
But
no, it's just I would just worry that like, oh, what if they don't let me in, kind of.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I don't think that happens though. I don't know why, but luckily they haven't.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, indeed. But it is like kind of concern, I guess, in some places, like the long-term viability of this kind of life, right? So
All right, so I guess we're coming to an end. So thank you so much for telling me your story, and and I never heard, like, you were also my first guest in Cambodia and also in Guatemala.
Oh, great.
That's very great.
I'm glad. Thank you so much for hosting us. And I'm sorry. And it's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Hold on. Yeah, that was Georgia. So definitely check out the show notes so you will find her and can contact her. Yeah, and also if you want to be a guest on my podcast, don't hesitate to reach out. My information is also in the show notes. So everything is there, so you can be a guest on my podcast. And yeah, and don't forget to tell everyone about the podcast if you like it. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. There is also a buy me a coffee if you feel super generous. All right, that was it from this week. Until then, bye.